Wow, the last 24 hours have been nothing short of extraordinary in football. We knew something big was going to happen, but we didn't expect it to come so soon. A new league is around the corner, and it's literally flipped the script. People aren't happy with the news at all, and we share their opinion. Jose Mourinho's future at Tottenham was up in the air, but in all honesty, we didn't expect Daniel Levy to relieve him of his duties ahead of the League Cup final against Manchester City. And of course, there are some transfer rumours that need to be addressed. So while we gather our thoughts and try to digest what's happened, why don't you go ahead and subscribe to our channel, and let's make sure that our voice is heard as the game we've come to love goes through this period of great turbulence. Barcelona closing in on Aguero. According to reports in Spanish media, Barcelona are closing in on a move for Argentine striker Sergio Aguero. He's set to become a free agent once his contract with Manchester City ends and will drop into the free agent pool. While a host of clubs have been chasing the 32-year-old signature, it's been reported that Barcelona are the one who have expressed the most concrete interest. If that move happens, there's a small chance of Aguero teaming up with Lionel Messi at Camp Nou. However, nobody knows where the Barcelona icon will end up next season, since he's also close to becoming a free agent himself, and he's so far given no clear indication about his future with the Spanish Giants. When Fabrizio Romano talks about something, you sit down and listen. The transfer market guru claims that Russian giants Zenit St. Petersburg are keen on signing Samuel Umtiti, and Barcelona are eager to sell the Frenchman, who's no longer the player he was a couple of years ago. Flick concerns at Bayern. So we've already spoken about Hansi Flick not wanting to extend his stay at Bayern Munich. We also discussed how the German wasn't getting along with the sporting director Hasan Salihamidzic. It's now been reported that Flick was irritated by the club's handling of David Alaba and Jerome Boateng. The two men played a big role in guiding Bayern Munich to a domestic, continental and global success last season, but they've easily been allowed to join the free agency pool. Flick wanted the duo to stay on at the Allianz Arena and feels that his bosses didn't try their best to convince the two to extend their respective contracts. Flick is now looking more and more likely to become Germany's next manager once Joachim Löw steps down from the post after the 2020 European Championship. The changes at Bayern Munich could also result in Niklas Süle leaving Bavaria for England, with The Athletic claiming that Chelsea are plotting a move for the German international. Thomas Tuchel is a huge admirer of the talented centre-back, and him arriving at Stamford Bridge would add a load of depth to the Blues, who should be competing for the title next season. Tuchel, meanwhile, is very happy with life in London and expects to stay beyond his current contract. After guiding Chelsea to the FA Cup final at the expense of Manchester City, the German tactician has a great chance of lifting a trophy by the end of this campaign. Chelsea face Leicester City in the tournament's final and are considered heavy favourites to beat Brendan Rodgers' side. Jose Mourinho sacking. Alright, this one was a little bit shocking. We didn't expect Tottenham Hotspur to wield the axe on the manager, especially when the team was getting ready to face Manchester City in the League Cup final. Spurs badly need to win something, and that was why Daniel Levy brought Mourinho to the club. However, the London club decided to move swiftly following the announcement of a proposed new Super League. More on that later. With 6 games left in the season, the sacking is an indictment on Mourinho and where his managerial career is headed. The special one was very convinced of his own genius, but he's been trapped in the past for far too long. Levy brought in Mourinho for instant success. Tottenham are trying to become football's elite, and they need a trophy to back it up. The Portuguese tactician, regardless of the brand of football he usually puts out, is a serial winner. However, the last couple of months have shown that the former Chelsea manager was completely out of his depth, and it was always a moment of individual brilliance from either Harry Kane or Heung-min Son that helped the team's cause. The Portuguese manager has always relied on improvisation when in possession, trusting his players to solve their own problems and win the moments, chiefly on the counter-attack. His compressed mid-block, fiercely delivered alongside a destructive mindset, aimed to provide a foundation built on defensive resilience. A lot in football has changed since Mourinho developed his own pragmatic approach to counter the revolutionary tactics brought to the fore by Pep Guardiola. The special one has always clung on to his methods. Perhaps a move to Tottenham was the wrong one all along. Mourinho rarely goes to a club that doesn't go over the top in the transfer market, and Spurs were an exception. The North Londoners have never been one of those clubs who will spend big on new players. Levy is a shrewd businessman, and did fairly well to sign a few players who could take the club further and build on all the good work that Mauricio Pochettino had done. Mourinho, however, wasn't happy. It's been reported that the veteran tactician never wanted the club to bring in Gareth Bale on a loan spell. The Welsh winger has struggled with form and fitness since returning to the club, and it was clear that Mourinho never had a plan for him. To top it all off, Mourinho's style was a relic of the past, in contrast to what Tottenham were trying to do. Levy made a big gamble, sacrificed style over quick success, and it backfired. At Spurs, there wasn't any plan. Everything had to go through Kane or Son, and though it did work well at the start of the campaign, the wheels slowly started to come off. The system was never going to hold. Mourinho relied on a couple of players to get the job done, when Tottenham always did well as a unit. On his part, Mourinho has stood still without knowing that he was going backwards. Every manager needs to continue evolving in order to avoid drifting into obscurity. Sir Alex Ferguson ruled Manchester United for almost 3 decades, and the great Scot always had the wisdom to make changes to his style of management. Mourinho simply never had that in him. This is why Tottenham could potentially be his last big job at club level. Super League seeks to ruin football. At half-time during Manchester United's 3-1 win over Burnley, the presenters were talking about something big happening in the game. A few months ago, there were talks about a new football competition that would see some of the best teams on the planet play one another on a regular basis. The competition, now known as the Super League, was going to be a closed one, with only a few places up for grabs. Premier League giants United, one of 6 teams from England to form part of the plans, are said to have been ringleaders in the talks, with Serie A heavyweights Juventus also figuring prominently. The format has been mooted for a while now, and the resulting fallout has been nothing short of extraordinary. Juventus president Andrea resigned from his post as the head of European Clubs Association alongside Manchester United chairman Ed Woodward. And as the news of a breakaway league started dominating social media, it became clear that football would never be the same again. It's quite ironic that most of the clubs that have decided to break away are the ones whose foundations are built on working class people who used football as a way to bring the community together. Today, all the hard work done by those people has been swept aside as if it never happened. In the midst of the pandemic, quite a few clubs have ceased to exist, while many more are being threatened by a similar fate. Gary Neville, a legend at a club that is part of this conspiracy, held back no punches and called for strict action to be taken. The entire situation is a travesty if you ask us. It's a spit in the face of clubs like Leicester, West Ham, Sevilla, Ajax and Borussia Dortmund that have worked so hard to stand toe-to-toe with the established elite. Just imagine how much effort it took for these clubs to be where they are now. The financial divide in football is great as it is. With the emergence of a closed league, it would be even bigger. UEFA president Alexander Ceferin was kept in the dark by his so-called allies, and he's expected to take a hardline stance on clubs whose actions have shook the game to its core. The statement made by him sums everything up. Look, for me, I have seen many things in my life. I was a criminal lawyer for 24 years, so I have seen different people, but I have never ever seen people like that. If I start with Ed Woodward, because it will be shorter, I didn't have much contact with him, but he called me last Thursday in the evening. He said he is very satisfied with the reforms, that he fully supports the reforms, and that the only thing he would like to speak about is financial fair play. Obviously, he had already signed something else. I don't want to speak much about Andrea Agnelli. He is probably one of the biggest disappointments or the biggest of all. I don't want to be too personal, but the fact is that I have never seen a person that would lie so many times and persistently than he did. It was unbelievable. In the midst of all this, you have to commend the likes of Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund and Paris Saint-Germain for not becoming part of the process. Ajax and Porto were both also sent invitations, but they rejected those. At present, we don't know what's going to happen. All we know is that those people who have come to love the game have been sucker punched by this announcement. Of course, money is an important part of the game. However, we do feel that the game shouldn't be entirely dictated by a select few teams or individuals. At the end of the day, football is supposed to bring people together and be a platform for everyone. However, the Super League intends to destroy all that by creating a competition that doesn't do anything to celebrate excellence and in fact rewards mediocrity. 15 permanent members of the league will be immune to relegation, while 5 other teams will have a chance to be promoted or relegated depending on their performance. The Super League press statement has not given an exact date of the competition, but it's expected that the inaugural season will begin as early as August. However, UEFA and FIFA have discussed banning players who are part of the competition. Would that solve anything? We don't think so. The advent of the Super League is not going to spell an end for the Premier League or the other leagues, but it would take away a lot of things from fans. There wouldn't be any Manchester or Merseyside derbies, while players participating in the leagues would always be looking at the Super League and hoping if their performances would earn them a move to one of the breakaway sides. We have so many feelings about this topic, and it would be so good if you could share your thoughts over the matter. We know that you're as angry about this as we are, so let's talk about this further in the comment section. And hey, don't forget to subscribe.